where the breathing is easy, the living is good. Out in the great outdoors.
Larry Smith Outdoors is brought to you by Warrior Boats, Vortex, Tub Hotels, Leroy's Meats, Bartline Barrels, Magic Products, Power Sports Company, Mike's Country Meats, Baronet Blinds, Drexel Building Supply, River's Edge Tree Stands, and the MRD Group.
Out in the great outdoors.
Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's show. I will tell you what, like I like to do each and every week, we are out to have an incredible good day today with our good friend Brian Bremer. Hey Brian, how's it going?
Good.
Hooking and shooting guide service. Did I get that right?
You did.
On the first try, I can't believe that. Let's tell everybody today what we're really up to.
So today we're going to be focusing on some walleyes in shallow water.
Okay.
Both with live bait, plastics, and twitching some rapalas, and also be looking for some panfish as well.
You love the musky fish.
You got that right.
And I can't
Yep.
wait to come back and do some musky fishing with you.
Yep.
But I thought, you know what, let's do something different this time. We just got done filming an AIM championship, and when you look at these guys that are fishing these tournaments, they are just so dialed on their electronics, it's unbelievable. Like they're fishing individual fish. Whereas a guide like you and I don't use my electronics as much as like these guys do, because I'm not looking for one individual fish. I'm looking for groups of fish. I'm looking, to me, it doesn't matter if they're, 14-inch walleyes or if they're 26-inch walleyes.
Yeah, so with the electronics, there's times where I use mine looking for pods of fish up and down shorelines or out in the channels, whichever. But there's lots of times too where, especially like in timber and rocks, you're not necessarily going to see those fish.
A lot tougher to see them.
Right. So you just have to fish it and see if they're there.
Hey, you're not going to hit anything with my brand new V208, are you?
No.
I know you wasn't. But
no.
That's the part about it too, because every week we use our boat, and so we let whoever we're fishing with run our boat, so we trust them. That's why we run good guides like Brian. So, all right, let's jump on in. Hey, another thing is today, you guys, we got a new guy behind the camera. Not Thomas is filming right now, but we got Ryan here. Look at that. Does that look like your typical videographer? Find out here. Basically what I'm doing is I'm casting across, and we're in the channel right here, and we're just basically pitching up on these flats right here and letting that bait drop down. Most of the time, like when I'm fishing, the Wisconsin River or on the Winnebago system, I'm using more of the smoke line. When I'm up on the bay and I'm jamming baits like, the shiver minnows, the shiver spoons, rip and wraps, stuff like that, I'm using high vis line because I want to be able to see that line. I want to see that bait when I'm popping it up and it's falling down. I'm working a lot deeper water most of the time. I want to see it when that fish, especially in windy conditions, or I want to see when that fish slams that bait on the way down, because a lot of times I won't have a chance to feel it versus seeing it as far as my senses connecting with it faster. That high vis line is definitely my favorite. So
another one on the minnow.
Okay. Hey. Whoa. That's not the jig that was on that rod.
No.
What are you doing? What kind of jig you got on there?
Blue weedless. That jig can sit right here like this, and the minnow can be up here swimming around.
Right.
With the stand-up jig, how it's rounded like this, you can hit that timber and bounce.
Slide right up.
Slide right over the top of it.
Hey everybody, this week's tip of the week brought to you by our good friends up at Mike's Country Meats, the finest jerky on the planet. I have a hot tip for you today, and I've got some hot jerky here too. Hey, I'll tell you something. I almost never use a pliers when it comes to unhooking most fish. Like obviously a pike or a northern's definitely different. So what I always do instead of using the pliers is I basically use my finger all the time. And what I do basically is I stick my finger in like this, and I push down on it, and poof, out it goes. So what I basically do is I'm using my fingernail and I'm pushing like that in there to get that hook out of a fish's mouth. Hey, I'll tell you what, again, this week's tip of the week brought to you by our good friends Mike's Country Meats, the finest jerky on the planet. I don't know what I got here. Oh, little
pikey.
The old snakeroni. Now, is there big pike in this part of the system?
Yes, there is.
There is some big ones.
There is some really big pike.
Giant ones, huh? This typically I don't suggest to do on a pike. Oh, God. What did I just say? I said I suggest you don't do it, and I'm going to tell you the reason why.
He gets you.
Why did I do that? That wasn't, you know why? Don't do it, because look what's in his mouth, even though he's little.
Those teeth are little razors.
He's got little razor teeth on them. Pike aren't too bad. I told you they were good eating. You know, I get to see a lot of people, the way that they fish, and obviously when you hire a guide, it's all about really learning. And one thing I see a lot of people do, and you got to think about this, like the way you position your rod really is important. And the important part is too, is like if you get a lot of wind, obviously you don't want to hold your rod super high, because what's going to happen is that wind is going to catch your line and control your line, and you want to be in control of the line, not the wind. You can see the bow in my line right now, real easy, okay? So what I'm doing is basically, and I'm keeping my rod, the tip of my rod pointed up into the wind. The positioning of your rod when you're dealing with wind is absolutely everything. My line has a big bow on it going this way, and again, just controlling that jig. These are little things like this make such a huge difference in you being more productive and catching more fish. Again, most of the time what somebody's gonna do, they're not gonna have control of that jig, so they're gonna go to a really heavy jig. And you don't wanna go to a heavy jig, because I don't want that jig grinding that bottom. Okay, here's another really good trick. You know, you're fishing, and obviously you're fishing anywhere you're fishing, you know, in a river, you're fishing a lake, there's always a lot of snags. And here's one thing, what people always do when they're snagged is they want to, or all of a sudden they want to reef on something right away. What you're doing, it doesn't matter if it's rocks or if it's timber, when you reef on it hard like that, yeah, sometimes they do come out, but more times than not, what's going to happen, you're actually pulling it into the timber harder. I like to do a couple things. The first thing I do when I hook something is I give it no tension on the line, but I give it a light shake, you know, and if it doesn't come out, like this one's not coming out, the next thing what I do is I do the bow trick. So what I basically do is I wind up on it, and I got the line in my hand, and I pull the rod back all the way like this, and what I do is snap it like that. You see how that came out? So what actually happens, it doesn't matter again if it's rock or if it's wood, when I bring it back like this, you got to remember when you bring it back and you shoot it like a bow, you got to relax the rod. So what it does is it jumps the line back the way it got snagged, and it doesn't work every time, but I would say probably 60 to 70% of the time, your bait's going to jump back and you're going to get it out. You know, this is something I really want to talk about. It's very important to have a good bump board. This system has a size limit 15 to 20 inches, but I'll tell you something, when you throw them fish in a live well, so many times they tense up and they will actually shrink, and especially if it dies, it'll shrink up. And then that fish is going to be under. So if a game warden comes up to the boat and he measures that fish, even though you measured it before you put it in the live well and it measured 15, it's a ticket for sure. You know what, so it's always important to keep them at least a 1/16 to a 1/4 inch over 15, just to have a little bit of leeway. Do not use a tape measure. Do not use, especially the ones that are made out of plastic, you know, or vinyl, and they put them on the side of your boat right that stuff all shrinks up. So it's always good to have either a good metal board or this one like I have here. It's a great board. Again, I love it because you can bump them up. And you're talking about this before, Brian. It's always good to make sure that the back of the fish is here.
Absolutely.
The head is here and the tail is that way for sure. There you go, Brian. Nice job. Now that was, you want a net? Nah. Okay. No.
Oh, I think that's another 14-incher.
Yeah, he looks big and fat. Just absolutely choked that plastic down. Hey Brian, let's talk about something else that you do, and you're a full-time guide. You
Yep.
guide for bear too, and you're guiding in Unit C, bow and gun?
Rifles, bows, crossbow, shotgun with slugs, whatever you feel comfortable with for harvesting whitetail deer, that's what I suggest for you to use on a bear.
Okay.
You don't need no big 300 mags, anything like that.
I don't know why people always think you need to have such a big weapon to kill a bear. You just need to hit them in the right spot.
Yep, that's all you need.
There we go.
Just getting into a new group of fish.
Yep, definitely a little bit different story. The last 4 or 5 now are definitely, that's a 15-inch fish right there for sure. And again, sometimes it's just a timing game. We're not really keeping anything today, so I'm gonna let them go. So the first 2 hours basically have been a lot of smaller fish, but a variety, but a lot of action. And now, again, the fish are starting to get to a little bit bigger size. And I don't know, is that common on the Wisconsin River? I mean, I always look at the Wisconsin River is that I take the sun any day of the week. I don't know if it's the same in this part of it or not, and it's kind of overcast today. It's our Leroy lunchtime, and I'll tell you something, you know what? We're not cooking anything in the boat today, but it's always a great thing when you think about all the different products that they sell at Leroy Meats and what they make. Today we're having the Buck and Bite snack stick, which the Buck and Bite is my favorite brat. It's probably their #1 seller over there, but they also make it into snack sticks.
Sweet,
Yeah.
tasty.
Mm-hmm. Still looking for that big fish. That's kind of the cool part about the Wisconsin River again too is, you can't keep anything between 20 and 28 inches. And obviously you can't keep anything unless it's over 15. So you can keep them from 15 to just under 20. I just switched to the shiver spoon right off the bat, first cast. I'm thinking to myself, I'm casting this plastic, and I'm thinking to myself, there's so many fish down there. I'm gonna try something different. And this bait came out just a couple months ago by Moonshine Lures right there, and we did really good with it a couple weeks ago when we were fishing with JVR up in northern Wisconsin. So I figure I'm gonna give it a try here in the river. I'm using a 15-pound braid and a 15-pound fluorocarbon. Again, I'm in a stiffer rod, a shorter rod, a 6'2", medium heavy, and so I can get the action. Brian's got one going there too. Ooh, that's a little better fish too. There you go, Brian. Oh, I'm loving this. There, that's a nice fish. That's a good fish.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Water here, we're only in 3 feet, so it's shallow, but still I'm popping that bait. I'm following that bait back down because they're always going to hit it on the drop. And I think that's a mistake a lot of people make when they're using baits like this, is that they basically relax the line and then let it fall all the way down. They're not watching it. Where I'm keeping it pretty much taut in a situation where I need to use a heavier bait, but I want to cut my fall ratio down, I can just do that by following the bait down and keeping it taut and holding that bait from falling. I'm just doing a single pop here, Now the next cast, now watch my next cast, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a double pop. And sometimes that's what's gonna trigger these fish too, just a different cadence. Now watch what I'm doing this time. So I'm doing 2 shorter ones, pop, pop, and then let it fall. Pop, pop. Oh, there you go. And that's what he wanted. You see that? A better fish too. Again, constantly mixing up what you're doing. I'm not using my arms hardly at all. Watch my wrist, how this goes. Just focus right in on here. So basically what I'm doing is like this. See how my wrist is coming up like this? Where so many people, they pull their whole arm up like that. I'm not flexing my arm back and forth. It's all right here. I'm not lifting my arms. Oh, there we go, hooked up again. It's so important, again, to get that right cadence out of it. And it's hard to do in this stained water, but a lot of times the key is when you get into clear water, and especially if you can get into some water, it's got a little bit of depth, like 6-8 feet, really watch a bait before you start throwing it. Oh man, why wasn't I using this before? Look at that, just absolutely crushing that thing. Brian,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, live bait versus artificial, I don't know. It's neck and neck, if not a little bit. I think leaning a little bit more on the artificial today.
Pretty close.
Yep.
You keep on kicking my hinder with that. I'm gonna have to switch to a shiver minnow.
Oh, another species. It doesn't matter the size. Another species for me. So I got a perch, I got a bluegill, I've got a bass, I've got a pike, I got bazillion walleyes, I got a bunch of crappies. Holy Wisconsin river system. No doubt, action, lots of action, fun, fun, fun. Hey, I'll tell you what, everybody, we are gonna switch gears here a little bit. We caught a pile of walleyes and some smallmouth, but we're actually gonna go fish bluegills and crappies.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go target some brush piles.
Fire up, we'll pull up the bow mount and fire up the V208 and go catch some gills. So, hey everybody, hang on to your heinies. Hope you guys are enjoying the show so far. We got a lot more to come. I guide pretty much over 300 days a year, and the people that I bring into my boat aren't just customers and friends, they're actually family. And I always try to keep these people as comfortable as I can and safe, and I cannot think of a better product than a Warrior boat. Why is their customer service so good? Because they know that you're part of their family. Come join the Warrior family.
Oh, there's one.
Oh, there we go. The old silver minnow.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at that thing. I love it. Absolutely great products. Good fish or not?
Doesn't seem too bad. Oh, it's a walleye.
Oh, that's a real nice fish. That's a nice walleye. Let's bump that walleye up again. Let's show everybody. Whoa, you got a walleye? Look what I got. We've only been in here about 2 seconds, you guys. I got a big old bass. Boy, I hate this Wisconsin river. All you do is catch fish. Tell you what, that did not take long at all to get on a bunch of fish. What we did is decide we came off the main part and we came in this bay here. Brian's got a bunch of brush right here where yesterday he caught a bunch of big gills and some crappies. But again, back to action. I'm loving this. Something to always remember, you guys, too, is that when you're coming into these brush piles like this, here's another great tip for you, is you never, I know that getting closer to that brush, there's gonna be a lot more fish. What you wanna always do is start on the outsides and kind of pick away at them and then work your way in there. So never cast directly in there right away, kind of cast to the outside. We got a kind of a really good wind too. It's kind of pushing that bobber in there. So if you cast right in there to the center of them, that's where the main group is, and you start pulling them out of there, what's gonna happen is you're gonna spook a lot of them. So it's no different if you're coming into a brush pile and you're working vertical. You never want to go all the way down into the middle or to the bottom. You always want to start up high, catch the fish that are up high, and then start working your way down. And it's no different in this scenario too, is that we know that them fish are really thick, tight into that brush, and we could cast right in there and start pulling them out of there, but then we're gonna spook a lot of them fish. So again, kind of work the outsides first and then work your way in as you're catching the fish that are to the outside. You know, you're depleting them by catching them and spooking them or keeping them. You know, keep working your way in on them. I don't know if it's another bass or what. I just pulled a nice bluegill. Oh, this explains exactly what you said, why we went like 5 minutes without getting a bite. Right there, folks. That'll shut your bite down right there when you're fishing bluegills. The old snake-a-roni.
Might want the net on this Larry. Might be a crappie. It took it slow, but I know it's not no crappie.
Muskie? Oh, big cat. You're right, I should have listened to you. Always listen to the guide. Here we go, nice cat. Gotta love that. Good job, Brian.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Catfish. Catfish hunter. Whoa, whoa, catfish. He gone. That cat gone.
Bye-bye.
All right, on to the next. Hey, another species for the shiver spoon, and he did bite it. It's right in his mouth. Yep, oh, in the chin. He tried to pin it. So you tell me, you guys at home, did he try to bite it or did I just snag him? I want to know what your comments are. Look at that. Boy, I'll tell you what, lots of fish today. What an awesome day. That one might make it if a guy wanted to. If not, it's pretty close. Hey, if you're looking for a great place to go and catch a lot of fish, you definitely want to give Brian a call. He's definitely dialed in. And you know, a couple years ago, we fished muskies with him and did real good too. So if you're looking for a muskie trip, you have that option too. Hey everybody, what an awesome day. Hey Brian, want to thank you big time like always. You know what? What a bunch of fun. You know, I mean, it's been a while since I've been able to come up on the Wisconsin River and catch that many fish. And it's kind of cool because I got to throw a bunch of different stuff at them to see what they wanted. You pretty much stayed on the live bait. I switched over right away and went to artificial, and there were several different artificials they really wanted. But I'll tell you something, the shiver spoon came through again for me, you know? Hey, let's tell everybody if they want to take a trip with you, which they're going to want to, think about bringing your kids and bringing some people that don't have a lot of experience and a lot of chances to catch a lot of fish. This is definitely the guy to go with.
Best way to get a hold of me, give me a call or shoot me a text. My number is 715-218-4667. Also look me on Facebook, Hookin' and Shootin' Guide Service.
Because he does do some guiding, mainly for bear, right?
Bear, and then also turkeys in the spring.
Hey everybody, like we do each and every week, we no doubt want to thank all of our military men and women for the great service they have given this country and continue to give this country, along with all of our firefighters, paramedics, and no doubt all of our law enforcement agents for the great service they also give us. Hey, you know what? The best part is, it is a great day to be alive, and we're going to see you guys and gals again next weekend. Thanks for joining us. Hey everybody, this week's tip of the week, you dirty rat, is hold on to your fish the right way. I tell you what, I'm gonna have to go and visit the shoreline. It kind of feels like a volcano. All the chicken wings I ate today, that hot and spicy, the 3 egg salad sandwiches I ate, the 4 sun drops, and the 6 candy bars. Something isn't sitting right. Boys, it's time. You guys wait. Well, you guys are really funny. Are they picking on you? I hope they ain't picking on you.
I don't know about this new guy.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to really, it's right hard to really get a really good grasp on them. You need to be a deeper tone to your call.
Sure.
There, blow, 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 blow.